Hey everyone, ready to kind of cheat the system and get business wisdom handed to you.
I like where you're going with this.
So today we're diving deep into not one, not two, but 16 business books.
16. That's a lot of books.
It is. But these have been cherry-picked, I think, for their potential to really accelerate your path to success.
Okay, so what's the source for these 16 books? 16 is a pretty specific number.
Right. So we're pulling this wisdom from a YouTube video by an entrepreneur who says he's read, get this, over 600 business books.
600. Wow.
Yeah, and out of those 600, he's narrowed it down, right? These are the top 16 that he believes can help you build a $100 million empire.
$100 million empire, huh? Well, that's certainly ambitious.
Right. So even if you're not aiming for 9 figures, who wouldn't
Yeah.
want to learn from the best, right?
Smaller.
So he's organized these books into what he calls the 4 spheres of influence. And it makes sense, right? Mindset, health, wealth, and skills.
Okay, so it's like leveling up your life one sphere at a time. I like that.
Yes, exactly. It's very holistic in a way, right?
It is, because you can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset.
It's like having a Ferrari but not knowing how to drive.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the foundation of it all, right? Mindset.
Yeah.
And who better to guide us than the OG of Stoicism, Seneca, with Letters from a Stoic.
Yeah, it's always good to go back to the source, right? To the original text whenever you can.
Right. This one's a must read for anyone who wants to navigate the ups and downs of business and honestly life with more resilience and clarity.
Think about how much fear drives our decisions in business. And Seneca reminds us that we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality.
That's so true.
Right. And how many times have you held back from doing something because you're afraid of the outcome, and then later you realize it wasn't nearly as bad as
It's
you
like that
imagined?
all the time, which is why I think The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is so powerful.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
This book emphasizes being impeccable with your word, not just to others, but to yourself.
Oh, that's so important, especially in the entrepreneurial world, where we're constantly setting goals and making promises to ourselves.
Yes. Because how often do you hear entrepreneurs talk about accountability?
All the time. That's like business 101, right?
But this is the foundation of it, right?
Yeah.
Being accountable starts with honoring those commitments we make to ourselves, even when it's tough.
It's true. It's like being your own best hype person, but also your own toughest critic.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of self-criticism, Jordan Peterson, you know that book your brother-in-law wouldn't stop talking about, 12 Rules for Life?
Oh, yeah. I get it.
One of his rules that really resonated with me, and I think applies directly to entrepreneurs, is to compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to where someone else is today.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in that comparison trap, especially in the age of social media where everyone's highlighting their wins. But it's important to remember everyone's journey is unique.
It is. You're running your own race.
Exactly. So celebrate your own progress. Learn from your setbacks. But, at the end of the day, you're only in competition with yourself.
And speaking of progress, let's talk about Carol Dweck and mindset. I feel like this book was like a revolution. It introduced this idea of a growth mindset.
Yes. Where you believe that your abilities can be developed.
Yes.
Yeah.
As opposed to a fixed mindset where you think you're just stuck with what you got.
Right. You're either good at something or you're not.
Which is so limiting. And I remember when I first read this book, it was like a light bulb moment.
Oh, totally.
Because how many times have you caught yourself saying, I'm just not good at this?
And that's where the power of yet comes in.
Yes.
Right? Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, it becomes, I'm not good at this.
Yet. It's such a subtle shift in language.
It is.
But it totally reframes the challenge.
Totally. It turns it into an opportunity for growth.
It's like that feeling when you finally master a new skill or you overcome a challenge in your business and you look back and think, I did that.
I did that.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset, the mental game of being an entrepreneur, but let's talk about something that I think is equally important, and that's health.
Oh, I was going to say, I was wondering when we were going to get to that. So important.
It is, and this video, the guy who made the video, his pick for health was Outlived by Peter Attia.
Okay.
And for good reason. This book isn't just about living longer, which, I think we'd all love to live longer.
Of course.
But it's more about extending what they call your health span.
Oh, interesting.
Those years where you're not just alive, but thriving.
You've got the energy and the vitality to actually enjoy the success you're working so hard to create.
And you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Right.
And he breaks down longevity, basically, into 5 key areas. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, your emotional health, and then your relationships.
It's all connected, right?
It's all connected. And I think this goes back to, like, when we were talking about being your own accountability partner.
Yeah.
This is where it comes out, right? Like holding yourself accountable for making those healthy choices, even when it's so much easier to like reach for the takeout menu or hit the snooze button instead of like getting up and doing a workout.
Because investing in your health is like investing in your business.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't neglect maintenance on a valuable asset.
Yeah.
Your health is your most valuable asset. It's
Right.
what allows you to show up fully, not just in your business, but in your life.
100%. Okay. Are you ready to talk about everybody's favorite topic?
Hit me.
Money.
Let's talk about money.
We're getting into the wealth sphere. We're starting things off with The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Okay.
I think this book is so important because it gets into the nitty-gritty of the often, honestly, irrational ways we behave with money.
Right. It's not always logical.
No, like it's emotional.
Right.
And it's so driven by like our past experiences.
I know. This book was so eye-opening for me. It really helped me understand my own money blueprint. Those beliefs that I had about money that were like totally subconscious, holding me back.
Yes, it's so fascinating, right? And one quote from the book that really stuck with me is, "Saving is the gap between your ego and your income."
Ooh, I like that one.
Right. Like how often are our spending habits a reflection of what we think we should have rather than what actually aligns with like our goals, our values?
It's like we're trying to keep up with the Joneses instead of running our own race.
Yes.
Right. It's about being intentional with your money, making choices that align with your long-term vision, not just your short-term desires.
Yes. And speaking of being intentional, our next book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, this book is all about taking action.
Okay, I like it.
Right. I love that he doesn't just talk about the importance of like budgeting or investing. He actually gives you a step-by-step plan to do it.
Yeah, actionable advice is key.
Yes. Like one of the things he talks about that you can do today, automate your finances. Oh, such a good one. Set it and forget it.
Yes. Okay, so we've got our mindset in check. We're taking care of our health. We're building wealth. But now let's hear from someone who's actually achieved like that ridiculously wealthy status.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So in his book, How to Get Rich, Felix Dennis, the billionaire publisher behind Maxim magazine, he kind of shares his unfiltered and often hilarious insights into the whole entrepreneurial journey.
That's awesome. I love when people just keep it real.
Yes.
What were some of his key takeaways?
So one of my favorite quotes from the book is, "Anyone not busy learning is busy dying." I love that he really emphasizes continuous learning as the key to not just financial success, but just like a fulfilling life.
It's all about growth.
Speaking of learning, let's dive into the advanced section of the wealth sphere. So we're going to tackle those not so sexy, but oh so important topics.
All right, bring it on.
Taxes and economics.
Everyone's favorite. Yes. But first up, we have Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. And don't let the title fool you, because this book is about so much more than just economics.
Okay.
It's about understanding like how the world works.
That's a pretty big claim. What did you find so useful about it?
So Hazlitt, he just has a way of explaining like really complex concepts in a way that's really clear, engaging. He uses like real world examples. It's just one of those books that can like change the way you see the world.
Oh, I love that. It's like having a new lens.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Now let's tackle that often dreaded topic,
Yeah.
taxes.
Dun, 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 dun.
But before you like completely tune out, think of it this way. Understanding taxes is like having a secret weapon,
Yeah.
right? It's about keeping more of your hard-earned money, right?
Yes, who doesn't want to do that?
And minimizing your tax burden, which, let's be honest, nobody loves paying taxes.
Okay, so what does this book recommend? How do we minimize that tax burden?
So Tax-Free Wealth, that's our next book by Tom Wheelwright, and he offers really practical legal strategies to do just that.
Like, give us an example.
He talks a lot about being proactive about tax planning rather than reactive.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
So many people are just, like, reacting to taxes instead of planning ahead.
Right. So the more strategic you are with your taxes, the more money you get to keep at the end of the day.
Music to any entrepreneur's ears.
Right. Okay, last but not least, in like the whole wealth building department, we have What Every Real Estate Investor Needs to Know About Cash Flow by Frank Gallinelli.
Okay, so you might be thinking, I'm not a real estate investor. why do I need this?
Right. And our YouTube guru kind of argues that like understanding cash flow is essential for any entrepreneur, regardless of your industry.
It is. I mean, it's the lifeblood of any business.
Yes. He calls accounting the language of business.
Because it is.
You can't run a successful business if you don't understand how money is flowing in and out.
It's like the heartbeat of your business. Just like you need a strong, steady heartbeat to stay alive, you need healthy cash flow to thrive.
So true. And this book really gives you the tools and insights you need to not only analyze your cash flow, but to like identify any potential problems and then make those strategic decisions to like optimize your financial health.
It's about taking control of your finances rather than letting them control you.
Yes. So we've covered a lot of ground in the wealth sphere, everything from understanding your money psychology to like really savvy tax strategies.
It's a lot. But building wealth is only one piece of the puzzle.
Right. It's what we do with that wealth that really matters. And that brings us to our final sphere of influence, skills. And we're talking about like the nitty-gritty of building a successful business, those like tangible skills that take you from idea to execution.
So we've got the foundation with the mindset, the fuel with the health, the resources with the wealth, and now we need the tools to actually build the house.
Exactly. And we'll be diving deep into those essential skills in part 2. Welcome back, everybody. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and talk about skills.
All right, let's do it.
Because it's not enough to just have like a great idea, right? Or a solid financial plan.
You got to know how to make it happen.
Yes. You need the know-how to bring it all together.
It's like having all the ingredients for an amazing meal, but you don't know how to cook.
It's a good analogy.
That's where the skills come in.
Yes. And when it comes to those kind of essential business skills, our video guide, he breaks it down into 3 core areas: marketing, operations, and then, of course, finance, which we spent a lot of time in the weeds on in the last section.
Yeah, laid some good groundwork.
So yeah, we've already kind of laid that solid foundation for financial success. So I think let's dive into the other 2. Let's start with operations.
Okay, operations.
This is like the backbone of any successful business, right?
Right, because without solid operations, everything falls apart.
100%. First up on our like operations hit list is Traction by Gino Wickman. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, I've heard of good things. It's a classic.
Okay, good. So for anyone who hasn't heard of it, tell us a little bit about it.
So Traction, it's all about the entrepreneurial operating system, or EOS.
Right, EOS, yeah.
And it's basically like a roadmap for your business,
Right.
right? It helps entrepreneurs get super clear on their vision, figure out what's really important, and then create those systems for accountability.
It's like taking your business from like this chaotic free-for-all
Total chaos.
to like a well-oiled machine.
Which we all want.
Yes. And once you've got that machine up and running, then you want to make sure it's operating at peak efficiency.
Right, you got to fine tune it.
Yes. And that's where The Goal by Elio Goldratt comes in.
Okay, another good one.
Yeah, this is like a classic in the operations world, I think. And it introduces this concept of the theory of constraints. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, the idea that, like, your system is only as strong as its weakest link.
The weakest link. Yes. So true. Right.
That's so true.
And that applies to everything, not just your business, right?
No.
But especially your business.
And it's easy to overlook those weaknesses, right? Especially in the day-to-day, you're so focused on just getting things done that you don't realize that you've got these bottlenecks or inefficiencies that are holding you back.
Right. So like, what would be an example of a constraint or like a bottleneck, I guess?
So it could be anything. Like, it could be something in your production process, right? Like maybe you're manufacturing a product and there's one step in the manufacturing process that's really slow and it's creating this huge backlog.
Oh, it's like that idea, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly. Or it could be a communication breakdown, right?
Yeah.
Maybe your team isn't communicating effectively, and that's causing delays or mistakes.
Yes, that definitely happens.
So the key, according to the theory of constraints, is to identify these weak links, figure out what they are, and then systematically eliminate them one by one.
So you're constantly improving.
Exactly. It's about continuous improvement.
Okay, so we've got the operational side, like, somewhat covered. So let's talk about getting those customers in the door.
Yes. Let's talk marketing.
Marketing. And when it comes to marketing, our next book, it does not mess around. It's called $100 Million Offers.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right, by Alex Hormozy. And the title kind of says it all.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold claim.
It is a bold claim. So essentially, this book is about creating these, like, irresistible offers, like so good your target market basically can't say no.
So it's about understanding what your customers really, really want and then giving it to them in a way that they can't refuse.
Yes. And I think one thing that he really emphasizes is this importance of like value.
Value is huge.
Right. Like creating an offer that's so good, it feels like a total no-brainer.
Yeah, they'd be crazy to say no.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even with like the most amazing offer in the world, you still need to get it in front of the right people.
Yeah, you got to find your audience.
Exactly. So that's where his follow-up book, $100 Million Leads, also by Alex Hormozy, comes in.
Okay, so this one is all about getting your offer seen right.
Yes. And it's about building this like repeatable system for lead generation.
Right. It's not just about like getting lucky with a few viral posts.
Right. It's like, how do you create that consistent stream of potential customers who are already interested in what you have to offer?
And that's the key.
Uh-huh.
Because if you're just randomly throwing things out there, you're wasting so much time and energy.
Totally. Okay. But attracting those leads, that's only half the battle.
Yep.
Then you need to know how to turn those leads into paying customers, right? And that's where copywriting comes in.
Oh, yeah, copywriting. The art of writing words that sell.
Yes. And our final book in the skills sphere, I think this one's like a true classic. Ogilvy on Advertising by the legend himself, David Ogilvy.
Oh, wow. Yes, the father of modern advertising. If you haven't read this book, add it to your list.
Yes. What did you learn from it?
So much. But I think his biggest emphasis was really understanding the customer. Like, who are you talking to?
Right.
What are their hopes, their dreams, their fears?
Yes, their desires.
And then write to that. Write copy that is clear, compelling, and speaks directly to them.
Right. He really believed in testing and measuring the results.
Because data doesn't lie.
Right. And I think one of his most famous quotes, because he's got a lot of them, he said, "The consumer isn't a moron. She is your wife."
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, respect your audience.
Right. Don't talk down to them.
Don't be condescending.
You're building a relationship, not just trying to make a quick buck.
Totally, totally. And that, I think, brings us to the end of our, like, whirlwind tour of these 16 business books.
Right.
Designed to, like, hopefully accelerate your path to success.
Wow, so we covered, like, a lot of ground here today.
You really did.
From, like, ancient philosophers to, like, modern-day marketing gurus, you know?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. But instead of just, like, handing you this stack of books, right, and saying, like, good luck, let's take a minute and, like, really connect all these dots because it's a lot to kind of process.
Yeah, it's a lot to integrate. So where should we start? So remember those, like, 4 spheres of influence?
I do.
Mindset, health, wealth, and skills. Those aren't just like random categories,
Right.
right? They're more like, I think, the pillars of what makes for like a truly successful, fulfilling life.
Yeah, 100%. They're all connected. It's like building a house, right?
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
So your mindset is the foundation, right? You have to have that solid base to build on.
Okay.
And then your health, that's like the frame that supports everything.
Right, because if your health is a mess, you can't do anything.
Exactly. You're not going to get very far.
Right.
And then wealth. Wealth is kind of like the roof, right? It provides that security.
Okay.
Allows you to weather the storms.
Yeah, and the storms will come, right?
In business and in life.
Exactly. And then finally you have the skills, which I see as like your tools, the things that allow you to build and create and actually shape your world. I love that analogy. That's so good. So we're building a house, but here's the thing about building a house. You don't just start like slapping things together, right? Without a plan.
No, you need a blueprint.
You need a blueprint. And I think that's what these 16 books like collectively offer.
No, they give you that roadmap.
A blueprint for success, but I think it's tailored, right, to like the unique challenges and opportunities of like what we do, the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, and just like any good blueprint, you can choose to follow it to the letter.
Right.
Or you can use it as a starting point and customize it.
100%.
Make it your own.
Right. Because no two businesses are the same. No two journeys are the same.
Exactly. Take the principles, see what works for you, for your business, for your goals, and go from there.
Right. Because it's really about taking those principles, like you said, applying them to your own life, your business, your own definition of success. Because, we talk about success. We talk about success a lot. But it's such a loaded word.
Yeah, it means something different to everyone.
What does it even mean to you?
That's the question.
Like, is it building a billion-dollar company? Is it achieving, like, true financial freedom, having those options? Is it about making a difference in the world?
It can be all of those things. And it's so interesting how often those things are actually interconnected, right?
Yeah.
Like when we can align our actions with our values, when we can find that work that's both personally meaningful, but then also financially rewarding, I think that's where like that true fulfillment lies.
100%. So I think as we kind of like wrap up our deep dive here, I want to leave everyone listening with like one final thought. So we talked about the importance of continuous learning, right?
Hmm.
Always expanding your knowledge, your skills. But I think even more important than what you learn is what you do with it.
Yes. Knowledge without action is just potential.
Yes. So it's about taking action, right? It's about experimenting.
Putting yourself out there.
Yes. And honestly, even like making mistakes, because that's how we learn.
100%. Mistakes are just lessons in disguise.
Yes,
Yeah.
embrace the mistakes. So yeah, it's how we grow, it's how we evolve, and it's really, at the end of the day, how we reach our potential. So I guess like the question for everyone listening is, what is like one small step? It doesn't have to be this big, massive thing. What's one small step that you can take today that's inspired by maybe something we talked about that just moves you a little bit closer to whatever your version of success is?
What will you create? That's the question.
That is the question. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This was awesome. Until next time.